Hello, quilters. I am having a beautiful day here in New York. It is spring. I think this is our third spring since we had 75-degree weather and then snow and then 75-degree weather and snow. I think this is our third spring. I think that happens in other states as well, but that definitely happens here in New York. So I'm not sure if this is a false spring or a real spring, but I'm going to enjoy it. I love that I can look out on my snowball bush, which is more of a tree at this point in the front yard. Um, and I have dandelions, daffodils. I have a bed of daffodils that got crushed in the snow last week, but are standing up again. And when I'm done with you here, I'm going to go take a walk. Now, I live in the mountains, so I actually have to go drive to take a walk to somewhere that's flat because of my leg. I need to walk on the flat, but it's such a beautiful day. I just can't stay inside any longer. So let me turn on the chat and see if anybody's here that can comment. The comments don't always work, but I've been quilting and I've been writing patterns, and it feels so good to be back, to be willing to work again. It's been a rough year and a half. So Sandal, oh, my hair looks great. Why, thank you. These are my blonde highlights. They are a white blonde that I'm putting in. And I grew out my bangs last year while I was in the hospital. So this is what it looks like. I'm going back for long again, but no more bangs, I guess. I didn't want to go through that pain again after I grew them out to get them cut off, to grow them back out again. So here we are. So let's see. Hello, Krista. Hello. And hello, Laura. It's good to see you all. I discovered that my church parking lot is a quarter mile around. If you walk the edges of the pavement, because we have like an entry road, and then we have a main parking lot, and then we have a back parking lot that is kind of connected. So if you walk around all the edges, according to my my map on my phone, I have a phone somewhere, but according to the map on the phone, when I walk, it's just about a quarter of a mile. So I'm going to go take my podcasts and go walk around the church parking lot for a bit. I love that. I've been to parks and rail trails and stuff. But when you park your car here and you walk a rail trail, you end up being this far away from your car if something happens. And since my leg is always going to be weak from the, they're hoping they can take the pain away, and I'm looking forward to that. But my leg's always going to be weak. So if something goes wrong, I like parking my car in the middle of the parking lot and walking around it so that I'm not too far away. It's kind of silly, but it works. It's a safe, flat place to walk, and it's near a car. I've had other people recommend some parks, and they're like, oh, it's mostly flat. When you can only walk on flat, you notice when there's a hill. Let's see. Amy, it's good to see you here. And hello in Florida. Hello. I get pictures every day from a friend in Florida. And when it snows here, I kind of don't like her anymore. But I hope you're enjoying this in-between season when you feel warm enough to not wear a jacket, but before it becomes too hot to actually go outside. I hope you're enjoying yourself today. So I have a few things to show you. Let me pull one up. I just restarted my computer, so of course everything closed. Last month's quilt, March's color block quilt, was shamrocks. So let's get to that. Color blocks. And this one. Okay. So I'll come back and see you. So this is the shamrock pattern from last month. You could start it now. The pattern is written. If you go to debbiebrownquilts.com, click online classes, then go to Color Blocks Volume 4. The pattern is written and in there. Please let me know if there are any typos or errors on it. I love having a volunteer staff of proofreaders. So this quilt is 53 inches square. It's not very big. It's basted up and ready for me to quilt. So maybe tonight I'll go in and start doing some quilting. My new sewing machine hasn't arrived yet because I just talked to you Friday. But I'm hoping it comes soon because Isn't a new sewing machine always a beautiful thing? Um, so that is the color blocks from March. February's pattern isn't written yet, but I am almost done with April's. I'm kind of working what I need to do now, and then I'll work in backwards to fill in. And that includes working backwards into last year to fill in some of the animals I didn't get to do. So I hope to have one new piece of content every week, and it'll be filling in back filling in the classes, because I have some really fun animals that I'd like to put together. Let's see what the April quilt looks like. Now, what happened with the April quilt before I pull that up? Let's see. I had an idea for, no, this one. Yes, thank you. Okay, I had an idea for the April quilt. So April showers bring May flowers, right? So I thought of raindrops, and I was working on the square color block and how to angle it to look like a raindrop. And I thought if I did a big cut up here, point, and a little cuts on the corner, it was really squat, flat raindrop, looked more like a Hershey's Kiss. So it's not a raindrop. And then I thought, because April showers bring May flowers, to do a rainbow. No, not a rainbow, but that would be cool. To do an umbrella. Do you ever try to say a word and something strange just comes out of your mouth? That just happened to me. So to do an umbrella, and like I cut the side off of, made a triangle and thought of putting a stem on it. It could still work, but it was more than I wanted to do, because the square we had to put on would have had to been pieced with the handle. So I didn't do that. What I did instead was, where did that go? I just opened it. Window. Talk amongst yourselves. Here we are. So I did tulips. Now, I do not have tulips where I am. I have tulip bulbs in my yard. And in the 22 years we've been here, this is our 23rd spring, I've seen one tulip once, because tulips are crack for deer. So the second one comes up, they get eaten down. I just picked some colors, and I think looking at this right now, I just put this together. I would switch the orange and the yellow just for color balance, but you can make your tulips any color you want. So this quilt is 40 inches square once you put the border on, and it only requires 4 color blocks and then scrap squares of your tulip colors. Then you need a stem and leaf. Stem and leaf, it's about 1/4 yard. And what was it? Maybe 1 5/8, 1 3/4 yards of the border and binding. And the background didn't require a lot. So the pattern is half written. I have the tulip written, but I don't have the stems written. So when I will send out a newsletter tomorrow or the next day, giving you your new update. But I thought I would share the pattern with you. These quilts this year are going to be kind of small. I'm not going to do anything big and huge, just because they're going to be seasonal, and you don't need to spend tons and tons and tons of time for a quilt you're only going to put out for a little bit. I just took my winter quilt off my kitchen wall because it has snowmen on it. Do you decorate with quilts like that? Do you have seasonal quilts? I have an old series of thimbleberry quilts that is done and has a place to hang in my kitchen. So I have the spring quilt will come down the next time I walk upstairs. I don't do stairs a lot because my leg isn't very strong. I should probably do it more to make my leg stronger, but we'll work on that. The quilt is upstairs and just needs to be hung. And my husband doesn't let me get on ladders, so maybe he'll hang it. Well, he'll hang it when he gets home. So I have 4 of those. And then I have a larger set of Thimbleberries quilts, and only one of them is done. And it's actually hanging in my upstairs hallway. The other 3 seasons aren't done yet. But I did have the snowflake quilt from Color Blocks Volume 1 was on the seat of my sofa. I put quilts over the seats of my sofa to keep them cleaner a little longer, because you can always wash a quilt. And I need to put a spring quilt on here. So I'm thinking I have a Field of Flowers color block quilt that I designed. I think the sample is upstairs, and that may be my next couch quilt, because right now I'm risking it with tea on a light colored sofa. So let's see. Cindy, I think we are in Massachusetts, I think. So hello. And let's see. Ronnie, my tulip quilt is great. Thank you. I was thinking of just making a tall, skinny wall hanging of just one big long tulip, but I liked it that way. I really like partial seaming with blocks that go around a center. So I just need some more time to write that, the instructions down. I did have the fabric requirements figured out so far. And let's see, we have the tulips. And yes, Massachusetts, I thought I remembered that. So, and I was going to apologize if I was wrong. Um, so that's what I have for the color blocks. I also have basted up an ABC 123 quilt. I have some color blocks basted up. I have a cutie quilt basted up. So working on getting back in the studio regularly, but I was just trying to get, I didn't have a video done. So I figured I'll send you the content for this week will be April's pattern, and then it'll be video content after that. Let's see, last weekend, I taught in Connecticut, in Simsbury, Connecticut, at So Inspired. So Inspired, I've been teaching there since the late 2000s, 2008, 7, 9. I don't remember how long, but a long time. So I enjoy teaching at that shop, and I enjoy teaching there even more because my grandkids live nearby. It's a long drive. It's a 2-hour drive for me to commute there, but I have a new car, I've got podcasts, and my grandkids are at the other end. So I kind of showed up sticky to teach because there was like pancake syrup involved with seeing my grandkids. I took them out to breakfast, and they had a guy making balloons in the restaurant. So I got each of the kids a balloon animal. Now, when I was a kid, a balloon animal was a long balloon that had like a dog ear, a dog face, neck, legs, body, and a little tail. That was a balloon animal. That is not the way things are now. It has come quite a long way that we had some very intricate Looney Tunes characters that looked exactly like they were supposed to, and a dog. It was crazy. And so the 3 children and 3 adults sitting at the table were all gasping in amazement. It was very cool to see. I don't know if any of you have seen the newfangled balloon animals people are making, but they're crazy. People do a lot of things, which is kind of weird and enjoy. Like kind of fun to watch. And all the grown-ups were like, oh, wow. So Laura, grandbaby thing number 3 is on the way. Next year might be a collection of baby quilts because I have a bunch of those designed. Because color blocks, I don't see an end to this. I think you're always going to be able to do something with that. But congratulations on grandbaby number 3. I have 3, 2 boys and a girl, and it's a wonderful number. I love it very much. 1 grandchild would be great. 2 grandchildren would be great. 3, as many as they want to give or as few as I get, I will love them with everything that I have. And the more grandkids I have, they still get everything that I have. It's amazing. I also have a great niece and nephew, my sister's grandchildren, great niece, 2 great nephews, but 1 great nephew is little and squishy, which is magical. I love holding little squishy babies, but the other 2 are going on 4. When I was in Pittsburgh last week, I was visiting her grandchildren. So I got to send a package to one of them that was a chicken bag that I had made for a magazine several years ago. It was called Spring Chicken, and it had a prairie point sticking out of the edge for the nose. And I put the coloring together to make it look like a laced-wing Wyandotte chicken, the black and white splotches. So while I saw my grandnephew, he had chicks in an incubator, and he was candling them for us so that we could see what was inside the chicks. So he's at the learned his chicks have just hatched since we were there. And so I sent him pictures of his cousins and their chickens and the chickens climbing on us. And that little chicken bag. So that was really fun. And now I need to come up with something for the other household of grandchildren because we must be even. So I have a really cute cat pattern. I'm thinking of making a little stuffed cat for my great niece, who is very princessy, very, very princessy. It's adorable, and they're very high energy. But they were very fun to visit with as well. I'm going to be doing some more teaching. Now, I came home from teaching, and then I slept for a day and a half. So that's going to happen. it's always going to take more energy. So I'm not going to go back to flying from one place to another place to another place and being on the road 200 days a year. I may eventually add flying and teaching to my list, but for right now, while I'm still getting back on my feet and getting my energy back, um, hopefully in May they'll fix my actual back, and then I can actually physically do things and gain some stamina. I'm going to be driving, and it's basically from Ohio, Pennsylvania, maybe as far as Maryland, and then all of New England. That's all a comfortable drive for me. So I'll be driving in that area. For the rest of you, I will be. I'm writing some more online classes, but I want to catch up with the color block ones first and see where it goes. Let's see. Laura, you always have to be even with the presents. You're working on an EPP baby quilt. Wow. I'm actually behind on my daughter's wedding quilt, and she's already had her first anniversary. But she understands that her wedding was right after I got out of the hospital, and it's been a rough year. Also, her wife, all of my quilts. She's my favorite child because she loves all of my quilts. And we've moved them a few times, and I know they have a lot of quilts, like scores of quilts we have moved with them. And we always joke they're going to wrap furniture in her quilts. So I'm a little late on their wedding quilt, but they have others to keep them snuggly and warm. Let's see, what else do I have? I have been knitting. So I made a sock, and then I took out a sock because it was too big, and I didn't need another pair of like sleeping socks. So this is my sock. It is Rye is the pattern from Tin Can Knits. And I just finished it last night. I put it on to see if it was long enough while it was still open at the toe. And my husband's like, "You're almost finished." I'm like, just have to graft the top. And he was like, "What? It took you 4 tries to make that one?" I'm like, "It only took me 2 tries to make the first sock." The last pair of socks I made, it took me 4 tries to make the first sock. So he was wrong, but not very. But yeah, I'm just having fun doing this until they can fix my back and I can get back on my feet while I'm on my nest here and in between, meetings and things like that. It's good to have a pair of socks nearby. I also finished a Christmas present. I finished a scarf that's put aside for a Christmas present, like a girl scarf, not a winter scarf. So I'm having that going, but I'm really looking forward to finishing quilts and moving back into my studio. So hopefully less than a month from now, I'll have my back and I can be back to work. Let's see, do I have anything else? In 2 weeks is the All Connecticut Shop Hop. So if you're within driving distance of Connecticut, it's not just a weekend, it's over many days. And Connecticut is not that big of a state if you drive corner to corner of it. Because I live close to one edge of Connecticut, and my grandkids are further along. So it only takes a couple hours to span it. So if you are in a driving area, you may want to consider checking that out. I'm going to be at So Inspired doing demos next Friday and Saturday, not like the end of this week, but like the 19th and 20th. 18th and 19th, I don't know, whatever that Friday and Saturday is. I'll be at So Inspired doing demos there on the Moxie XL and teaching more home machine classes. I did teach a home machine quilting class last weekend, and it's always wonderful to see students walk into the class like this. "I'm not sure I'm in the right class. I've tried this before and it hasn't worked." And it's always fun that I know that by the end of the class, they'll not only say, "Oh, I can do this," but I usually leave with people saying, "This is fun." So it's been wonderful to get back into home machine quilting because I've been doing most of my home machine teaching online, and I don't get the "Oh, I can do this" faces from y'all. So it's great being in the classroom showing people they can actually quilt. So right now I have a class that's on quilting in lines, in rows on your quilts, so that you don't have to wander around. And then I have a class that I teach where you do have to wander around. And I'm also doing working on an in-person walking foot class and an in-person thread class. So it's fun being able to offer those. I know a lot of the shops that I go and teach long arm quilting at, they want me in for an extra day for their home machine quilters. So it's good to get my brain going again now that my body is cooperating. So I'm not sure I'll ever stop being grateful for coming through what the last year and a half has thrown at me. But if I was shockingly happy person before that, and I'm nearly unbearable now because I'm like, ooh, I can breathe. It's awesome. Let's see, anything else going on in my book? Nope. I think I'm good. I think I've said everything I need to say. But if you can think of other home, let's see. Cindy, you would love a home machine quilting class the next time I'm at Bits and Pieces Quilt Shop. Well, you should call them, but not this week, because this weekend is also the New England Quilt Expo. Is that this weekend? Sorry, I have to check. Yes, it is this weekend. So don't call her this week. She's a little bit busy, but call her after that and tell her that, and I'd be happy to do that. Um, the New England Quilt Expo, I am not teaching at this year because when the paperwork had to go in, I was too sick to fill it out and believe that I would actually be able to make it to go teach at the show. So there's no hard feelings. They didn't turn me down. I didn't decide I wasn't teaching there. It was just the paperwork had to be in right around my son's brain tumor. And then I went in my son's fine. He had surgery back at work 5 weeks. If you haven't heard that story, he's doing great. And it was non-cancerous. So we're good. This was a one and done. And then I went into the heart failure. So yeah, I'm not teaching there this year, but uh, I've already agreed to teach there next year, and I'm putting together some proposals. But don't call her this week. Call her next week and see. And I would love to come because I'm pretty flexible as I've been home for 4 years. The calendar has one or two teaching gigs a month on it, and that works for me. And, going back and forth to take care of mom and then seeing the grandkids. So my life's kind of perfect. And I hope yours is too. Um, if you're around the New England area this weekend, go to Manchester, New Hampshire at the Doubletree Expo Center, and there is going to be a wonderful New England Quilting Expo. It started. There's a lot of long arm quilting there, but there's also home machine quilting. There's piecing. There's the rulers. I'm picturing the woman's face who designs them. It's about making like the triangles and stuff, not the Judy Niemeyer, but the one with all the rulers. So I know they have a lot of good classes there. If they haven't filled up, definitely check them out. A lot of my friends are teaching there. So definitely check that out if you get a chance to go. And I will be teaching there next year, Lord Willing and the Creek Don't Rise. So have fun with the quilting festivals that are going on in your area. I just happen to know about the ones in my area. So happy quilting, everyone. I look forward. Studio 180 Rulers, Deb Tucker. Thank you very much. Let's see who filled me in. Laura, thank you. Yes, Deb Tucker is a dynamo. She and I have taught together at many shows, and she is a force of nature. But I know that they do have Studio 180 classes going on at the expo, and Nicole is a fabulous teacher. So thank you very much for filling in where my brain didn't work. I'm like, I can picture Deb Tucker. I can picture members of her family that travel with her to quilt shows. Couldn't come up with her name. And it's like Debbie. I was like, it should be right on the tip of my tongue since it's right at the tip of my pen because I signed my name. Anyway, I am going to go put on some sneakers. I'm going to go change my laundry over and then go take a walk to enjoy this beautiful day. I hope wherever you are, you're having a beautiful time and find some time to fit some quilting in. So I'll probably be machine quilting tonight in my studio while hubby has a meeting. But the sun won't last forever. So happy quilting, everyone. Let me check. I think I have a medical procedure next week. Let me see when I'll be back next week. Let's go for next Wednesday. Next Tuesday looks shockingly busy with a couple doctor's appointments. So not sure I'll be in any brain space to talk to you because one is actually a medical procedure and the other's stuff. Anyway, I'll be back next Wednesday, 2:30 in the afternoon, New York time. And until then, happy quilting.